at the same time. Anyway, Mia volunteered for us, or I volunteered her to help to be a client that we were going to do a little food exposure. So we'll just say, like, meet Emma. Emma's been a picky eater her whole life, but in the last year, it's become more extreme. Only eats limited range of very plain foods. Avoids fruits, vegetables, any food with textures. The impact on her life, has lost a couple of pounds, but I would say in this case, the physician is not worried about it. It's not a health concern for this individual, but it is noticeable, like the restrictions are increasing. Social impact was probably the biggest part of avoiding more and more aspects of her life. So avoiding friends, parties, school events, anywhere there might be pressure to make contact with a food that she finds aversive. And then emotional impact of just feeling more anxiety, distress, conflict with her family, and just kind of all around hopeless that food is such a key part of life. And if any situation that has a food that's new is going to create this kind of distress, like, life is forever going to be really hard. So a little more despair increasing. And so I asked Mia to come up with a food hierarchy that we just kind of play with today for a few moments, seeing how much time that we have. So I'm going to, and she was nice enough to kind of think about the foods that might be around her. So I'm going to stop presenting for a moment. Because I don't see. Mia, are you in there?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay. So I was thinking what we can do is kind of imagine we're kind of like midpoint. We've done some food exposures already, and we'll just kind of jump in and see what happens. Is that fair game?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So, Mia, you are doing really great and just reviewing progress from last session. It sounds like we did those food exploration last session around fruit snacks and fruit strips, and then your parents shared that you at home on your own actually had a apple strip after dinner last night. So I don't even know if that's something that you were challenging yourself for or you were in the mood for, but tell me a little bit about that last night when you grabbed that fruit strip.
Yeah, it was a little bit tricky. I don't really like things that are green, and so it was hard to get past the color of it. But once I started eating it more, I feeling a little bit better about it, but it still brings me a little bit of anxiety. But I'm so proud of myself that I was able to do that last night.
Amazing. Amazing. So I was thinking today something that we could add in the mix that I didn't warn you about, but we could give this a try. I was thinking about the exposure that we did last week, and you're bringing it, and you really you were willing to not only do the apple strip exposure, but then you also took a bite of celery, which you didn't think that last session you were gonna be ready to try. And then it kind of occurred to me the way that we're doing the exposure sometimes might make it harder for your brain to learn how to really explore that food with openness. So I'm gonna try something different. So remind me of one of the foods that you actually like, one of your safety foods. Remind me one or two that are your go-tos.
I would say my go-tos are plain pasta.
Plain pasta?
And bread with butter.
Bread with butter. Okay, great. So here's what I'm thinking. And then in your environment right now, let's just say that you're home. Could you get get a little, like, ask your parents to give you a slice of bread with butter. So let's start with a food that is one that is one of your go-tos. So for the purpose of time, let's just pretend that like 2 minutes passed and you grab one. I'm gonna grab a food that I find pleasurable too, and I'm gonna be right back in 1 second so I could join you in this food exposure. I do that in sessions. Like I will just run off from the camera. It's okay because I've run off and grabbed costumes. I mean, it's okay to use our environment, not for the food exposure. Okay, so I grabbed goldfish, which I find yummy and it's enjoyable to eat. So if you take a bite of the bread with butter, and let's each take a bite of the bread with butter. So here's what I want to do for this bite, though. I want us to picture that it's our least favorite food, and I want to just like make the biggest, yuckiest face that we could possibly make. So for me, I don't love eggplant, especially if it feels kind of really slimy. But when you get to your top hierarchy, I will join you, and I probably will include eggplant in the mix. So I'm gonna just like really think of an eggplant and just make my yuckiest face and really, okay. And I want you to do the same thing with the bread with butter. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna eat this.
Okay.
Ooh.
Ugh.
I've seen you look much more offended by food. So like really.
Ugh. So gross.
Mm. Oh, but real okay. Here's like squeeze your like. Ugh.
Ugh.
You want to say yeah. Ugh. Okay. Now take another bite. And I want you to like really I love bread with butter. Like yum. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Take another bite. Okay, bite two.
Oh, delicious.
Hmm. So, did that taste any different to you? And I'll just say from my experience, my first one, both goldfish, but like it actually tasted for me slimier and like I almost felt like I was gonna like gag. Like I was surprised how much I did not like goldfish, which I really like as I was like, bleh. How about you? Did it feel any different as you were like yucking bread with butter?
Yeah, it felt different. It felt like there was something wrong with it.
Mm-hmm. Like, did you feel it any like for me in my throat? I don't know.
Yeah, it was a little hard to swallow it. It felt like I was eating something that I know that it usually tastes good, but it didn't taste as good when I was thinking about how gross it was.
Right. Right. Okay. So I want us to keep that in mind when we're doing some of these food exposures. Like the very act of, for myself, like as I was like, bleh, as I was tightening up and eating it, like it felt like my body was like fighting against it. Almost felt like it was definitely tasted different. And so when we do these food exposures, I know I talked about being open to them, but even practicing like opening your palms. Like we're just gonna like can you think of anything in your life where you just open up to the experience?
I would say going on roller coasters.
Oh, that's a great example. What do you when you ride roller coasters? Are you someone who enjoys roller coasters?
Yeah, I really do like roller coasters, but I used to not like them. So I try to think about that, how sometimes over time our experiences change and how even though things seem scary, once you do it a couple times, it's not as bad.
I love that. I love that example because, as you said, I picture like there's always the people on the roller coaster. Actually, they have their hands up and having the time of their life, and then same roller coaster, and people who just so miserable, can't wait to get off. So that's actually really okay. So when we're doing, and I might borrow that. Can I borrow that for the
Yeah,
future?
of course.
Really good. Really picturing like it's kind of scary. It's wild. I don't know when the loop is coming, but I'm open to it. I'm on the ride. I'm gonna enjoy the ride for what it is. That's great. Okay, so today we were gonna revisit celery, and all I want to do is we're gonna take a tiny bite, and I'm gonna take an item from my food exposure. For me, midpoint is applesauce. So I'm gonna take a bite of applesauce, and then we're just gonna practice like riding the roll. I'm gonna ride the applesauce roller coaster. You ride the celery roller coaster. Are you willing?
Yes.
Cool. All right, let's do it. And I'm gonna be watching. You can watch me too. So if you see me, like, you raise your hand. I'm gonna do the same thing to you. Okay.
Okay.
Actually, I'll go first. Who should go first? You could go
I
first.
can go first.
Good. Okay, you go first.
Okay, so I'm gonna
Okay.
take a bite of the celery.
Okay.
It's okay. It doesn't really taste like anything. The one thing that really bothers me about celery is it's just so stringy. I can't get over the texture of it.
Okay. I think that I want you to do another bite, and you ate it so quickly, and like your arms were kind of, I can't
Okay.
see your arms, but it was a little, you were definitely not woo like riding. So like I'm gonna go first, and then
Okay.
applesauce. Ah. So I just kind of was like, yum, smile. So I don't actually think yum, but I was like, yeah. So if I fake it till I make it. So I'm smiling like yum, and it's down, and I don't even know how I feel about it, but it doesn't matter because I was smiling and thinking yum and ate it. So I want you to do the same thing with celery.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
That's better.
okay, it wasn't so bad.
Yeah. And even just your face opened up to it. And it is, I'm not gonna ask you how it was or how it wasn't, but you were a food explorer, and the key to opening up your palate and just enjoying the experience of food is just being willing to explore and play, and you'll end up liking what you like and not, but it's that experience that's really going to change everything for you, and that smile on your face was amazing. Okay, Mia, thank you so much. I gave Mia like zero warning of what I was going to do with this, and so thank you so much for
Of course.
really, 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 really helpful.